We all make mistakes from time to time. From a simple mess up while writing something to making a mistake in the kitchen, accidents are always a thing. But they almost never cost you millions or billions of dollars. Yep, that's right. In today's video, we're again going to be taking a look at the top 5 most expensive construction mistakes ever made. Number 5. Citigroup Center. Zooming in on number 5 is the Citigroup Center. Yeah, Midtown Manhattan in New York is home to the office tower known as the Citigroup Center. The 280-meter tower has a very unique characteristic. Until 1978, the engineers evaluated the stability of the structure by calculating the winds that came perpendicular to the building. But they neglected to calculate the quarter winds that impacted the corners. The building is supported by 4 foundational pillars, each of which is 34 meters long. The issue was discovered during a conversation between civil engineer William Lemessurier and civil engineering student Diane Hartley from Princeton, who stated that the structure was unstable and it could collapse at any time during a high wind. The experts began testing buildings for structural safety for this reason, and they promptly confirmed that college student Diane Hartley was right. Lemessurier estimated that every 55 years, a strong wind would cause the building to collapse. In contrast to a demolition, the building wouldn't collapse in on itself, but rather topple over, which could create a domino effect and cause nearby skyscrapers in New York to collapse. Engineers had to act swiftly because they didn't want to spread fear, or even worse, Hurricane Ella was heading straight for the city. Only a small number of individuals, including the mayor of New York City, were aware of the issue, and no statement was made in public. After 3 months of nighttime labor, the engineers were able to strengthen the stability of the Citigroup Center by welding 2-inch steel plates over the building's bolted joints. Fortunately, Hurricane Ella didn't make landfall in the area, and the costly repairs, which cost millions of dollars, were completed in October 1978. It's funny though, the only reason we know about it is because Lou Messurier casually mentioned it at a party, and the entire tale was published in a piece in The New Yorker 17 years later. Damn. Number 4. The Oroville Dam. The Oroville Dam is a dam used for flood control and water storage, hydroelectric power generation, as well as water quality improvement in the Sacramento-San Joaquin River Delta. Completed in 1968, it's actually the tallest dam in the United States at 770 feet. However, heavy rainfall during the 2017 California floods damaged the main spillway on February 7th. So, the California Department of Water Resources stopped the spillway flow to assess the damage and contemplate its next steps. What was the problem with the main spillway? Well, after they searched for a while, they noticed a certain pattern in the water and found that the foundation and concrete of the dam were badly eroded and they were starting to give way. Proposals to upgrade and repair it were rejected way before, and so no one was aware of the conditions being this bad. The rain eventually raised the water levels until it flowed over the emergency spillway, even after the damaged main spillway was reopened. Although there was no collapse, the water degraded the emergency spillway's bare slope and subsequently damaged the main spillway. As water was being flooded downstream, more than 180,000 people were evacuated. And thankfully, the situation turned out to be just fine after a week. And the good news was that people were able to go back to their homes. In total, over $875 million were spent to repair 2 spillways, which happened to take more than a year to complete. Number 3. Texcoco Airport in Mexico City. The Texcoco Airport was actually an airport announced by the Mexican president Enrique Peña Nieto as the biggest infrastructure project Mexico would see in over 100 years. The country obviously needed a bigger international airport in order to keep up with the growing number of tourists. And it was planned to actually replace the already existing Mexico City International Airport. The president planned to build it in certain phases. The first phase was to be finished in 2020, and the last in 2065. The building was supposed to cost just over $13 billion and to be the world's largest airport. This, however, meant that Mexico would have to borrow billions upon billions of dollars in loans, with interest, to finance the project. However, just 4 years later, in 2018, the new president of Mexico, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, made it very clear during his campaign that he wanted to cancel this airport project completely. According to him, there were allegations of corruption and cost overruns in the project. But even more importantly, the airport was being built on land that was literally sinking. In addition, President Obrador also says that it will still be financially cheaper, much cheaper, for Mexico to cancel the Texcoco Airport and to build another newer, smaller airport. All this makes sense for him to ask to cancel the airport. However, if you actually look through each and every detail of what's happened, canceling this airplane project has actually cost a whopping $16 million. So yeah, was it really a good decision? The Millennium Tower. The Millennium Tower, a residential skyscraper, ranks as San Francisco's 6th largest structure. However, residents at the company were complaining that the tower was tilting. After a bit of investigation, it was discovered that the tower's foundation was discovered to have been built deep into the sand rather than into bedrock, which made it impossible for the huge structure to be supported. A lot of issues surrounding this have happened, and 7 years after it was completed, it sank noticeably. The city of San Francisco and the homeowners association in the building sued the development team, who in turn blamed another company responsible for building the neighboring Transbay Transit Center. Eventually, the $100 million solution was to drill into the bedrock on the north and west sides of the tower. The main plan is basically to install over 50 new piles that would reach up to 70 meters down to the bedrock, bracing the towers and reducing tilt over a period of several years. The construction of the new foundation started in 2020, but recently had to be halted again in August of 2021. Those in charge of monitoring the project noted that the tower had sunk an additional inch and that the tilt had increased again. As of now, it leans more than 22 inches at the top. And the problem is under investigation again and before returning to work on the fix. Number 1. Star City of Lijiang. Now, coming in at the number 1 spot on this list is the second phase of China's so-called project, the Lijiang Star City. This Star City saw the start of development in 2011. On 4 sizable plots, they constructed 19 high-rise structures to contain residential and commercial space. The project changed hands within a year after it started, and the new business managed to finish the first 4 high-rises. However, in 2013, development on the remaining buildings was delayed owing to financial issues. The remaining 15 structures had tops on them but lacked finishing touches. They began to have basement flooding, with precipitation over time, which caused irreparable foundation damage. For around $150 million, a different real estate firm acquired the site and project rights in December of 2020. They discovered right away that the 8-year-old structure couldn't keep up with the modern needs of a changing real estate market. So they decided to demolish the unused buildings. The demolition workers laid over 4 tons of explosives, and safety precautions were taken to make sure that the destruction was as secure as possible. Finally, the anticipated demolition got underway in August of 2021. They were demolished in 45 seconds after years of planning and building, and it was reputedly China's largest at-once demolition. And how much did this all cost? Well, apparently it cost just about $149 million. That's a lot of money, but damn, those explosions were pretty cool to see. And with that, we've reached the end of today's video. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like, share, and also check out our other channel and comment down below on what expensive construction mistakes happened in your country. Oh, and of course, if you haven't already, you can subscribe with post notifications on so you don't miss out on our content. And yeah, with that, have a good one.